So, how do you get your news?
My news?
Yeah.
The radio and internet and a little bit of newspaper.
Okay. And so, which kinds of media do you consume?
Oh, also email summaries of like newsletters, summaries
Okay.
of news
So,
at work.
what other kinds of media do you consume? Not just for news, but for anything else.
So radio, newspaper, occasionally TV, internet a lot. That's it.
Okay.
Oh, well, sometimes movies.
All right. So, what kinds of media do you produce, if you produce any?
I don't produce very much. I don't really participate in Facebook or blog. So, not really much. I mean, it's not really media. It's email isn't really mass produced.
All right. So, do you think media producers exhibit bias in their producing?
Huh. That's an interesting question. I don't really know. Can you help me understand?
So, like, do you think when radios are saying something, do they have a certain bias of like which way? If a radio is giving an article or giving you news, do you think they have maybe a conservative bias or a liberal bias?
I think we all have biases, and everyone has motivations, conscious or subconsciously. They want something, and they're doing something towards that goal.
It's okay. Okay. Do you have any examples of things you've seen where the media is presenting bias?
Yeah, at work, which is one of the ways that I consume media in the way of like electronic articles, is there'll be a headline and an article that has a particular message, or they're trying to motivate people. So, for example, it might be an NGO, like an environmental group, and they're trying to stimulate concern and fear in the public about, say, their drinking water. And so they'll take some facts and they'll spin it in a way that makes the situation seem much more alarming than it may actually be.
That's one of the media biases we're learning about, the media's bias of spin. So, do you think media consumers exhibit bias when they consume media?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have preferences. We all have things we like, and we tend to continue to seek things that we like. And we're not so aware of this, but we don't necessarily look for things that we don't like, and we lose out on diversity that way. So, for example, I might go to a conference of professionals that are just like me, and we'd all share ideas that are pretty similar. But I could go to like a clown convention or a banking convention or juggling convention, and I would learn things and have interactions that were so new.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even think about it until I did it, but I might be happy that I did.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever exhibited confirmation bias in your personal consumption of media?
Confirmation, but I'm not sure. I definitely have a preference. So when I'm looking for things, I'm looking for things that interest me.
When you hear news, do you question it even if it plays towards what you agree with?
Sometimes. I think like everyone, if it's something that I agree with, I'm less likely to be skeptical. But sometimes I might be skeptical. It partly depends on how much knowledge I already have on the topic. So, for example, if it's something to do with water quality, I might already know enough to be questioning the way it's being presented. But if it's about something else that I know little, I may not be very skeptical at all.
Okay. And so, what, if anything, do you try and guard against confirmation bias in your life? Or do you just kind of not really pay attention to it?
I pretty much don't pay attention to it. I'm aware of and this came up in the recent presidential election, of these concepts of like being in a bubble and groupthink, where you talk to and listen to people and information and media that are aligned with what you already know and like. And the weakness or the problem with that is that you might be sheltered or have an impression or perception of something that isn't realistic. It's just, it's kind of like the same sort of problem you would have with like a small gene pool. You're not getting a diversity.
Yeah.
You're not really aware of everything.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.